Today we're at Queen of Heaven Cemetery outside of Chicago, Illinois. We're having a vlog today with stories about the POFFOs. So we're gonna visit two of the three men that we're gonna talk about today. Let's go visit Angelo and Lanny. Daze with the Lion and you all begins now. Actually located in this mausoleum. So it's up on the second floor. Go to the St. Stephen section. And they're all the way at the very top. Right up there. I'll zoom in, you can see it says Angelo POFFO and Lanny POFFO. If you know those names, you're a wrestling fan. There was another POFFO. There was a Randy POFFO who we also knew as the Macho Man Randy Savage. So what's interesting is that Lanny and Angelo are here. The mother of Lanny and Randy is buried down in Florida. And then Randy, when he died, he had recently lost his dog and scattered his dog's ashes in the backyard of his home by a tree. So that's where they scattered his ashes. So you can't go visit him, obviously, but Angelo was a wrestler. He was actually in the, I believe he was in the Navy. And while he was in the Navy, he set a sit-up record that Ripley's Believe It or Not acknowledged as the most sit-ups ever done. He did 6,033. His goal was 6,000, and then he did 33 for 1 year, or every year of the Lord's life. So he ended up becoming a wrestler. He wrestled for like 41 years. 42 years, something like that, had his own promotion called ICW, and that's where he broke in his son Lanny and Randy, and then they both eventually went on to WWF and became big stars. Lanny was known as Leapin' Lanny POFFO, and then also the Genius. So he kind of got his, even though he was a fair wrestler, he said so himself that pretty much all of his opportunities came because he was Randy's brother. When they wrestled for ICW, that was around for like 6 years, and Randy and Lanny would basically trade off having the championship most of the time. And I'm gonna have Tony Atlas and Bushwhacker Luke on here after we visit here, telling some crazy stories about traveling with those guys. But Lanny said that, you know, once the push for Macho Man was happening, they started pushing him as the Genius. And he said, yeah, of course, I got the push because I was Randy's brother, but he said also, I was originally a jobber. And he said, they gave me a moment one night where they told me I could say something. So I went out there with like a Julius Caesar, like chest protector type thing, and I delivered a poem. And he said, when I got done, Vince McMahon said, Lanny, that was great. From now on, every night that you wrestle, I want you to do a poem before your match. And that's basically where his character came from and where the Genius came from. So let's listen to some stories from Tony and Bushwhacker Luke now. Hope you enjoyed visiting the grave of the great Angelo POFFO and Lanny POFFO.
So before we did this video, we talked for a couple of hours actually. So we were talking about Angelo POFFO, and I wanted to also show these. Jordan, there's a lot of things I won't show, but this is something cool that basically this is Randy's Mega Powers glasses. So this came with a letter from Angelo. So basically, Tony, if you want to put these on, you're gonna feel the Mega Powers.
Wow! I'm gonna put it on Luke.
I'll put it on Luke. Well, Luke has
yeah.
Here. Well, Luke will take your glasses.
Katie can wear them.
Yeah. Luke is cool, man.
Luke, this is the actual belt. So this was gifted to me by Lanny. Lanny and I were very close, as you mentioned.
Yeah, rest in peace, Lanny.
Lanny introducing me to my now wife, And he made our wedding before he passed, which was really like 3 months
I know
before he
them
passed.
wages,
But,
too.
yeah, so but his father was Angelo, and you guys have a lot of stories about Angelo. We got to tell. But that's when he set the world sit-up record. That was a belt given to him by
Like 600 setups without stopping.
Yeah, I think it's 6,033.
Was it 6,000?
Yeah, without stopping. It's been
I've
broken.
been overcutting him all them 6,000 and that's right.
Unbelievable.
Contemporary
Yeah.
sets.
Is that you, Marty?
Yeah.
But see, getting back to what I said, see, stuff like this, what a promoter would promote. Then we
Absolutely.
had to do something that is for real,
An attraction.
and for an attraction, and then they would promote it.
Yeah, those are Randy's signed
Now,
days.
I'm going to talk about Ray as
Let's
a
talk about
father.
Angelo, yeah.
For Angelo, who was known as is known in the ring up in Canada as the Miser. That was his wrestling name. But in real life, he was a miser.
I've heard that.
Because the boys used to go down to, he lived up in Lexington, Kentucky, and every Saturday, Monday night, they'd be down in Memphis for the big show. But we'd do TV on Saturday, and then Sunday we'd do a spot show. So we were already down there because we did the TV in Memphis, and we'd already be down there for the Monday night for the house show. Everyone would stay over in a hotel. He would hop in the car. He'd have a van full. He would drive them right back 350 miles.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
To not pay for a hotel?
Yeah. And then next day come down on the Sunday to do the spot show, go back up again and come down Monday. Wow. So and Tony was in the van. Tony had been in the van for that. So there you are there. That's how he was known as the miser, because he was a real miser too.
And Randy was a chip off the old block.
And Lanny too?
Lanny was not as bad as Randy.
No, not as bad.
Randy was real. Randy was just like his father. Me and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, we were going to go to this Chinese
Put those on, Luke. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, you know what?
We was going to go to this restaurant that was right beside the hotel, a Chinese
You gotta
restaurant.
tell a story. You got to tell it. Put on another set of glasses.
So Ricky Steamboat saw Randy and Elizabeth in the lobby coming in. We was on the way out. Said, Randy, Ricky Steamboat said, Randy, it's a nice Chinese buffet right next door. You want to join us? Randy was with his wife there, Elizabeth. This is what Randy told Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. No, that's okay, Steamboat. I got some leftover pizza from last night.
Wow.
In the room.
And you know how much he was making, Randy?
And he was making,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah, I heard the only thing he would spend money on was his clothes. The guy who made his clothes said he would let me make
because
anything.
that was deductible.
Now,
It was tax deductible. And what else he would do, and you know this too, Randy was the worst smelly wrestler in the dressing room. He
Really?
would never wash his gear until he got home because he did not want to pay 75 cents for the washing machine at the hotel.
Wow.
You had
I
to
can't
put
believe Liz-
You had to put a quarter in it. I put money in it. The
Yeah.
machine was not free. You had a little thing. I think it was 75 cents to wash it.
You could have washed him in the
It was like-
sink, though,
it was
even.
like 50 cents. No, you got it's soap.
Ah,
Shut up.
He saved the soap. He would take the soap.
Put 'em on, Katie.
Oh, he would take the soap, all the stuff out of the room there, and he would put the soap in his bag. But he would
steal the soap?
yes.
And not only just him, there was a lot of wrestlers like that, wasn't it? Just like we had what's his name, Nikolai Volkov.
Oh, my
when
God.
Nikolai would sit at a table with you and watch you eat. And whatever you left on your plate, Nikolai would say, are you going to finish that? You go, no. I hate for food to go to waste, huh? I finished that for you.
Wow.
Pocket for the money. Nikolai Volkov never put his money in the bank. He would put it in a plastic bag, put it in a tin can, and bury it in the backyard.
Wow.
Can we snap it into a quick get together with all the
Yeah, absolutely.
Never do a Slim Jim.
Yeah. Those are all ring-worn Macho Man glasses. That's awesome.
These were signed by these were signed by Michael Braun. We did a little documentary last year too. So
but
that's cool.
what get back to Angelo, the reason Angelo did it, about 50% of the wrestlers in the 60s and 70s done that. Because they believe in, it's not, the old saying was, it's not how much you make, is how much you save.
Well, and you didn't have to pay
Now-
taxes probably
now-
if it was in cash, did you?
But you still have to declare it. Otherwise,
Oh, you
don't,
did?
if you don't pay your taxes, you won't get Social Security.
Oh, so you pay that, yeah.
You have to pay your taxes because the more taxes you pay, the bigger the Social Security check. Plus, if you go, the promoter return it, even though they gave you cash, you have to sign for it.
Yeah.
So the government knew you had the money, even though it was cash. Remember, you had to, when they gave you, you got an advance, whatever they gave you money, you had to sign for it. Vince McMahon, not skipping around, Vince, senior, you have to be careful. Let's say you make $100,000. Well, when you get, if you don't keep your, do our better say, don't ever throw away, but our first slide said, don't throw away your receipts. Because most guys would do, they would cash the check, and then they would take the receipt and just throw it away. Because you know at the end of the year, you're going to get a W-2 form.
Yeah.
They got your amount. Well, he told me to do that my first year. So I said, I'm going to listen to Captain. Because Captain always liked him. He gave me the best advice, him and Chief J. Strongbow. So at the end of the year, I kept all my receipts. And Vince gave me a W-2 form. So the guy that did my taxes at that time took and said, Tony, we got time I need to talk to you. He said, I need the rest of your checks receipts. I said, that's all of them. I said, count them. I said, 52 weeks in a year, you should have 52 checks. He said, yeah, I got 52 checks. He said, you don't have any more than just them? I said, no, that's all I got. I said, why is that? He said, because the W-2 form said you made $135,000.
Wow. So you were able to prove it with your 52 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's what Vince Sr. did to wrestler. He would pay you $100,000, but he would put down $120,000, $130,000 because he knew the guy didn't keep their receipts.
Wow.
I lived on the Gulf in Indian Rocks Beach. And the land there where I was only 100 yards wide. You go over a bridge and you're on mainland. Now, Randy lived right behind me in Largo. Elizabeth would go to the same plaza for shopping, the same grocery store that I used to go to.
Randy
Liz.
Elizabeth did. He would let her go, and that she had a time limit to get back. And if she wasn't back in 20 or 30 minutes, depending how many items he had to buy, he had it timed how many items she had to buy, she should be back. And he would be in a car going out to that supermarket to find her. He was jealous, very jealous.
Wow.
Anyhow,
Who did this?
Why do you think he was so
Randy,
bad about
Randy.
that?
Now, listen to this.
This is Elizabeth, right?
Yeah, it was Elizabeth. So I'm coming in now. You know how the big arenas are in the back where the trucks come in?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all the boys, you had down the hallway, you had the dressing rooms. But there's a lot of the guys, if it was early, they got there early, they all hang around the entrance, right? And you come in. So Randy comes in this day, and Elizabeth, he always tells Elizabeth, keep your head down. Because he doesn't want her to have contact with any of the boys.
That's why she's done that.
Yes, that's why she did it. Then he told me all this later. So she'd walking like that. He comes up to me about 3 weeks later. He says, and he shot the town. A town that I couldn't even remember at the time. It was 3 weeks ago. He said, I saw you looking at Linda.
Liz.
And Liz in this town. And I'm trying to think. I said, Randy, that town was 3 or 4 weeks ago. It doesn't matter. You were looking at my girl. Hey, and if you want to make something of it, let's get outside. That's how fucking.
That is insane.
That's how it was insane.
Possessive.
How he was.
Well, getting on that note, I just want to say, Jordan, from the collecting world right now, these are items that are really collectible. Like when you have a Liz and Macho signed magazine,
Yeah.
Vintage Days, very collectible items right now.
They were the
Same
big thing.
Same thing now with Hulk and with Macho Man. If you get one of these are really, really sought after.
Yeah.
The two of them,
Right
especially the
now.
Mega Powers
Especially
items.
that one that
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they're shaking hands. Let me get
Yeah.
the best
And
angle.
it's
You
time-
can see Donald Trump right there, by the way, our current president.
There he is.
Sitting right there in
Yeah.
the front row at that one. So that was this is a really cool collector's item.
At the time, this was the hottest item, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When he had Elizabeth and he was first time the champion?
Yeah.
And they were the hottest item.
They were.
You
That
know,
was a
Hulk,
big-
Yeah.
Hulk was up there,
Yeah.
but all of a sudden,
Macho
she
Man.
was so beautiful too.
Yeah.
And she was so genuine and quiet
Nice.
spoken.
Let me ask you a question. You guys being in the business, Do you think Macho would have become champion without her? I mean, do you think Vince would have made him champion without her, or did she bring that
he would've
extra?
been- Yeah, now you got to give. Even though we telling things about him that people don't know, he was a hell of a talent.
Yeah.
And he got over.
But I know he was seen as
Perfection.
small. Michael Braun said Randy was always afraid he looked small.
But he jacked himself up in the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, but see,
he always stood.
on TV, what a lot of people don't know on TV, TV put 20 pounds on you. So a wrestler on TV will look 20 pounds heavier anyway. And with the way the ring was set up, like Jerry the King Lawler was not big, Dundee was not big, well, Matt Vachon was not big.
220.
But you see, the stage is up high. So
Yeah.
they got it set up so when you watch a wrestling match, if you know that you're always looking up at the wrestler,
Yeah.
because the ring itself is 4 feet off the ground. The ring. Just the ring is 3 to 4 feet.
And another thing to help too, have a small referee.
The referees have to be small.
and it makes the guys
Right.
look giants.
And make that-
when you
Right.
have
So
these-
they have ways of especially on television. So when you're a bodybuilder and you got that physique like Randy had, people is not looking at your height or your weight. They're looking at you got muscles. Because you got to realize during that time when Randy was around, there wasn't many muscle men, not just in...
Right, that was kind of a new thing.
Yeah, fitness became a new thing right about in the late 80s, early 90s.
Billy Graham.
But Billy Graham. But in the 70s, there were very few gyms. There were no Planet Fitness. There were no, the stuff they got now was just...
Performance Center.
None of that. None of
Look at
that.
look at the crew when Vince first started. You know, a lot of the guys like the Big Boss Man.
One Man Gang?
The One Man Gang.
Yeah.
None of them. They had characters.
Yeah.
They didn't have bodies, and that was Vince.
Randy had a
started. Vince started the business with all those other characters,
Yeah.
and then Randy and Hulk, of course, stood out.
Yeah.
Hey guys, by the way, this is Jordan. I just want to feature this too. That's an early Macho Man robe. That's actually around the time with Elizabeth when his career was taken off. It's a really early one. He signed here. You can actually look this up. It's actually TV used.
You know, I used them in Puerto Rico. Now I'm thinking of it in the early '80s when I was booking for Carlos Colon.
So we have to tell the story, Luke. People know.
Yeah.
You've been around a long time.
I booked a lot of territories. Going back, and I was working for Carlos Colon and his other partner Victor down in Puerto Rico in '82. I started going to Puerto Rico in '79, but then I had the book there, and that after being in, I think I used them in Texas too. I was a booker for Joe Blanchard, you know, the Tully's father.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I was there for 2 years,
But
and that's when I first started using Brody and Abdullah. You know, that's when I started really realizing these two guys click heavy, and they were clicking in Japan.
Yeah.
So I had them and that big time there, and then when I went to Puerto Rico. But the first time I went there, that's when I had Macho down there with, and he had a woman with him too. So that would have been Elizabeth.
Yeah. I think she was his
about
first.
83. Yeah, it could have been 83 that I had Macho in Puerto Rico for the big anniversary show. And that this is well before he got the big start in WF. Don't forget, WrestleMania was 85. That's
Yeah.
the one that popped it. But Vince Jr. started stealing everybody in 83 and 84. That's when he was stealing everyone around the country.
When I first met Randy Savage, he was not Randy Savage. He was Randy Poffo. And it was the Poffo brothers. It was in Amarillo, Texas. Albuquerque, New Mexico. And the Poffo was
The
riding.
Young Bloods?
Yep, no, it was the
dad.
Poffo, but the father was working then. That's when Angelo was still working.
Yeah.
And he used to buy a Mercedes Benz. And I asked him why he bought a Mercedes, because Mercedes get more gas, and plus the value didn't decrease. And
That's a for resale.
The diesel.
The diesel.
The diesel. There were diesels. That was
That
cheap.
was cheapest gas.
It was the cheapest gas. That's right. Do you remember?
Much cheaper than gasoline.
Right. And so I worked against Lenny Poffo And if I'm not mistaken, during that time, I think Lenny and Randy, they were teenagers. They wasn't even old enough to get a beer. They were like 16, 17 years old. When I first met them, they were kids.
Yeah,
so I'm riding this car with these kids, and Angelo was driving. They would bring their own food. I would stop and say, "We go get something to eat." You didn't bring nothing to eat.
You didn't pack a bologna sandwich?
You didn't bring nothing to eat. Because he was not going to stop, because that diesel, you didn't have to stop. You could drive all the way to the town and all the way back on one tank of gas with that diesel. And they always got the Mercedes. But the thing about the Mercedes-Benz, what Angelo told me, he would get the same money that he paid for it. They didn't decrease in value like American car did.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Mercedes, they
Makes sense.
They don't decrease in value. Like the only American car that was like that during that time was the Corvette. Corvettes, the Stingray is the only American car that do not decrease in value. You see the guys running these $90,000 trucks, where the moment they drive it off the parking lot, they lost about 10 grand. That's what they got on.
Any car.
It's $80,000 before you get off. But he was telling me all these ways of saving money. Another thing they would do, the POFFOs, to go to a restaurant. Now, in the older days, there were moms and pop restaurants. So they would put the ketchup on the table, and you should have them crackers. Remember them crackers on the table? They would order hot water.
Oh no, make soup.
Yes, hot water. Give me a cup of hot
Oh
water.
my gosh.
And then they would take the ketchup, put it in there,
Tomato soup.
and put the crackers in and eat. Now, that was a good meal. I couldn't, and I'm a young kid.
And you're pumping them.
I'm pumping iron and everything. I got to go because I'm riding with the POFFOs now. I had to go the whole week on freaking ketchup soup with crackers. Yeah.
You are a bit crackers.
And then they have what they call, now Luke remember this, the bologna blowout. The bologna blowout.
A six-pack and a bologna blowout.
That's right. You buy, they got a loaf of bread, a loaf of cheese, or a block of cheese. Then they would get the bologna came. It was not sliced. It was like a loaf.
Yeah.
A bologna, and your beer. The guy was sitting in the back. That was your cook. He said, "Want a sandwich, Tony?" I go, "Yeah." So Lenny cut a slice of bologna. Then he cut the slice of cheese, put it between two pieces of bread, gave me that, and a beer.
Oh my God.
That's how it was on the road back in the 70s. The bologna blowout. Because you know
that was the only
you had
thing
a
that-
blowout when you got home.
That's right. Because they didn't have the fast food joint or none of that. They didn't
Yeah,
have
it's
none of that.
true. Yeah.
So when you travel, see the show started at 8 o'clock in the olden days. 8 o'clock the show started.
Yeah.
10 o'clock the show was over.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is closed.
nothing's
I mean, when you leave some of these towns, the light is blinking. You know, the stoplight.
Yeah.
Everything is closed. There was nothing open. And then it came along in the 70s with the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
So then everybody started going to the 7-Eleven.
And the greasy stop, what's it called? The
Denny?
Waffle
House.
The
Yeah.
Waffle House. This is well before Denny's. The Waffle House.
That's right.
That was one of the first
Well, Dennis was around, but it wasn't called Dennis. It was called Sambo's.
Sambo.
Oh, yeah.
Sambo. Dennis was Sambo at first. Yeah, it was Sambo.
You guys are taking over.
No, but they changed it. When they changed it now, because I guess some liberal black said it making fun of blacks, and just like they
That's
changed.
what I did there.
Yeah. Some liberal
Sick.
got in
On the
office.
sick
Yeah.
bar.
Andy's first WrestleMania road. This has been featured before.
What
Actually,
year? What year?
It would have been around 86.
Did you say WrestleMania 2?
WrestleMania 2, 85,
Yeah.
86. I'm going to guess 86.
Yeah, 85 was the first one.
Yeah, 86. So it's
Yeah,
been,
86.
it's really cool now. They actually make jackets based upon this robe. So if you like those chalk line jackets,
Yeah.
they're featured off of this one. I really think this is really a nice, colorful robe. It's beautiful.
beautiful.
But long story short, I loaned this out to Ben Brown at WWE probably a year ago.
Who?
Ben at WWE. Ben still works at he does all their archiving. He's had some really cool stuff there. But anyways, this is a very, very nice piece. By the way, Ben, love working with you. He's got some really amazing stuff over at the headquarters.
There's nothing new in the business. Nothing new. I was with a guy. I wish he could be here. Ox Baker.
Yeah.
Oxy.
Yeah, Ox knew more about everything. Ox Baker told me this. It's nothing new.
He's the one that
nothing
punched his
new.
boss on
Nothing
camera,
new.
didn't he?
Right. And that
No,
role
the hard
made me
punch.
think of
He killed
something.
the guy.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Well, he knows about
Yeah, that role reminded me of Ox Baker. Here's the reason why. I was with Ox when Randy came out in that role. This was what Ox said about Randy. A white, sweet daddy seeker.
Yes.
A white. And then later, after I was out the business, I looked at Sweet Daddy Seeker on the tape, Identica.
Yeah.
The glasses, the sparkle roll, and like Ric Flair, Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers.
Buddy Rogers, yeah.
It's like a repeat. So Ox used to always say there's nothing new in the business. That they just get upgraded. But when I looked at this role here, Sweet Daddy Seeker, and if you look at any picture of Sweet Daddy Seeker, Mommy wore the sunglasses, had the blonde hair, but he was the one that first started wearing these type of roles. Now, Dusty Rhodes, me and him was talking about it earlier. Dusty Rhodes imitated a guy they called Thunderbolt Patterson.
Oh, okay.
Thunderbolt Patterson, he's just imitating Thunderbolt. And Randy Savage, believe it or not, imitating Sweet Daddy Seeker.
Now,
I've never even heard of this guy.
Yeah,
So I had to look him up, to find out who the hell is the Sweet Daddy Seeker.
Yeah.
But he came up with the glasses,
he was my partner in 1972.
and he wrote stuff like that.
In Cherry Park, when we did 30,000 in 1972, the big show.
With the sparkles and stuff.
He had the glasses.
Yeah.
It was Butch, me, and him against the three Italians.
Sweet Daddy.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, the three Italians.
Yeah.
Hey Jordan, while I have you guys here, so I'm gonna do this because I don't know, and I don't know if I've done this before. If I have, I apologize. But if you can zoom in on this, this is a very early Randy robe, and you could see as Randy, and I've shown this before, that as Randy progressed, robes got nicer.
Yeah.
And they went to sequin. But I really would like help with this. The robe is signed here. You can see Randy's signature there. It's all certified photo match. But this says and I'm going to try to get this straight for the camera. It says it's custom designed by Bill Dara, 1979. And it says some type of unlimited, some type of studio.
Airbrush Unlimited Studio.
Airbrush Unlimited Studio. Thank you for your help with that. So
Yeah, we'll look into it.
I would love to know. I tried to find him and track him down. I believe he's in Florida somewhere. I don't know if he's still living, but if your viewers were able to help me with this or just make a message to you, I would love that. It would be
Okay,
awesome.
we'll
So
do
we'd
that.
love to find him and just say, we have this robe. Can you tell us a little bit about this? Because this is one of Randy's early robes. He would have used this also in the territories before he went into WWE. So very cool early robe.